Device onboarding with Meru Connect. This is 212 billion. I'll get back to this number momentarily. You're all too aware of the ever-increasing expectations of your users. Everyone in your organization, including your leadership team and stakeholders, expect Wi-Fi to act like a utility and work flawlessly on every device all the time. What's problematic is that your users have no real understanding or patience of how complex Wi-Fi is or how it actually works. Let's talk about some of the challenges we've heard from organizations like yours. Specifically, the challenges of making sure your users and their devices have appropriate access to your network while keeping unauthorized devices out. Your employees, guests, or students are connecting to your network with the expectation that their experiences should be as easy as connecting to their home networks or local coffee shop. While we want to make it convenient as possible for our users, we still have to secure our networks. It's complicated after all, right? Unfortunately, this complexity is only increasing as demands grow and the traditional approaches to solving these problems are no longer sufficient. Do me a favor. Take a deep breath of air. Now hold it. Okay, that feeling of constraint you start to get when you no longer have enough air in your body, that's exactly what's happening right now to the devices on your Wi-Fi network. They want access to your network resources. By show of hands, how many of you could have held off a little longer? How many of you would have preferred to breathe sooner? Different users and devices mean different limitations and requirements. You've likely heard of the concept, the Internet of Things. Today, 10 billion devices are connected, and in the next 6 years, that number will grow to 212 billion devices. So, the net here, providing, delivering, and supporting a wired experience over a wireless network is hard, and it's going to get harder. So how do we start to make sense of all the devices coming into our network? One way is to consider who is requesting to enter your network, that is, the user. The other key consideration is the what in terms of the device that's trying to connect. So let's take a look at the possible user-device combinations that will be trying to connect to your network. So where do I begin to sort out who or which device gets access to my Wi-Fi? Well, let's start with what we actually know. A lot of legacy wired networks are like this, where they have known users and known devices, and extend this to their wireless networks. In this environment, you issue laptops and some mobile devices that your organization owns, and you have known users that already exist in a corporate directory, such as LDAP. Let's call this your typical corporate environment. Of course, not all organizations are alike. There are some organizations where the users frequently change, or just keeping track of exactly who is using the network is difficult or not that critical. But on the other hand, mobile devices on the network remain fairly static and are easy to keep track of. Can you give me some examples of where this might occur? How about laptop carts or carts on wheels, computer labs, libraries? How about retail kiosks or handheld scanners? Yes, we do see this in schools with their laptop or tablet carts, or in warehouses with handheld scanners, where all of these mobile devices are shared. Another scenario is when we know who the users are, but we're not really in control of the devices trying to get access into our wireless network. Most of us are familiar with this particular scenario that's being driven by the recent and dramatic changes in mobile technology and personal computing trends. Anyone care to suggest a label for this scenario? Well, how about BYOD? What kinds of BYOD are you seeing in your environment today? And how are you currently managing them? Finally, we have organizations where the constant change of both users and devices makes specific knowledge of them extremely difficult to obtain and manage. These organizations still have networks to protect, but have fewer tools to grant appropriate access rights since there's no prior visibility of either user or devices. And what do you think we should call this scenario, folks? We'll call this our guest network. Here again, how are you handling guests today? How are you controlling their entry? Do you have the visibility of what they're doing and where they're going using your network? While these are all different combinations of known and unknown users and devices, they have all one common goal, and that is to connect to your network. Meru Networks automates this complex task by harnessing best practices technologies into a single solution, Meru Connect. Meru Connect was created by a company we acquired called Identity Networks, focused on securely connecting users and devices to corporate networks. Cisco actually OEM'd their product prior to us acquiring them. Their product was purpose-built to solve for the connection problem while leveraging all of your existing policies around users. When onboarding, you need to look at both user and device, and then to be able to intelligently, easily get them or deny them the access that they deserve based on your policies. We recognize that these challenges exist both in wired and wireless networks, regardless of the manufacturer, and that there are many networks where all of these scenarios apply in various degrees. So we've made flexibility and interoperability the top priority. Many companies already keep track of their known users and devices using Active Directory, Radius, or LDAP, so it makes sense that Meru Connect works well with all of the popular directory services. For unknown users and devices, our fully customizable captive portal can be used to prevent unauthorized access while providing full control of the user's login experience. Policies can be enforced based not only on what is entered by the users, but also based on other attributes such as MAC address, browser types, device signatures, time, and location. Once those devices are on the network, based on your policy, you'll achieve better control and visibility of where they're going and what they're doing. Meru Connect provides immediate cost benefits and workflow efficiency by minimizing IT involvement in the recurring labor-intensive task of device onboarding and keeping IT out of the password business. A major key side effect of proactively managing your connections is that you can keep unwanted users and devices off your network, conserving network capacity and bandwidth for those that do matter. As always, features are great, but it's the results that matters. Auburn Stadium is fully outfitted with Aruba networking gear, but they leverage our guest management tools to onboard game day devices. St. Lucie County School District launched a BYOD program for students to access their Cisco network and needed something more cost-effective and intuitive than Cisco's ICE offering. Centre Hospitalier Universitaire de Sherbrooke, or for us English speakers, CHUS, is a hospital where there's a myriad of user types and devices that require a sophisticated onboarding tool, but also one that could hold up to regulatory scrutiny as well. The fourth largest hospital in Quebec must reference several external user directories to grant the right access to doctors, visiting researchers, and students, as well as guest access for patients. Hospitals typically have a healthy mix for all four quadrants. There are many other solutions, such as Cisco's ICE or Aruba's ClearPass, that offer the ability to address these scenarios, as do Network Access Control Systems, or NACS. These are solid tools, very robust, and they have their place for sure. What we found is that the most important features are onboarding and guest management, handling how devices and users connect, which is what we do better than anyone. So, what I'd like to know now is a little bit more about your organization, what you're doing today, and how you see the user-device mix changing in the future. Other possible questions for discussion is, how are you granting access to your network today? Do you have formal policies about users and devices, how they can connect, and what they can do? How far have you gone with BYOD, and what is preventing them from taking it further? Is your user login experience the same for both wired and wireless devices? And what kind of tools do you have to let you know who's on your network and what they're doing? So that completes the presentation. And finally, Meru connects which users on which device will get what kind of access, and the solution for that is Meru Connect.